This is Lieutenant Colonel Virgil Ivan Grissom, better known as Gus. He was a big part of the great space race against the Russians back in the 1960s. Born April 3rd, 1926 in Mitchell, Indiana, he attended public elementary school and graduated from Mitchell High School. It was then that he became interested in flying when a local attorney would take him on flights for $1 and taught him the basics of flying. Hi, I'm Richard, and welcome to my channel. After graduation from high school, he enlisted in the United States Army Air Corps in 1944, and there he got basic flight training. After being transferred from one air base to another, he ended up in Boca Raton, Florida, and served out the rest of the war as a clerk. In 1946, he used the GI Bill to attend Purdue University, and in 1951, he received a degree in mechanical engineering. He then re-enlisted in what is now called the United States Air Force, and in 1951 earned his wings. A little later in his career, he flew an F-86 Sabre in over 100 combat missions in the Korean conflict. In 1955, he was assigned to the United States Air Force Institute of Technology, where he received a Bachelor of Science degree in aeromechanics. He was then reassigned to Edwards Air Force Base out in California, where he went through test pilot training and eventually was sent back to Dayton as a test pilot back in 1957. Grissom was one of 110 test pilots here in the United States that was chosen to go through the Mercury space testing program. And he was one of 7 astronauts chosen as one of the original Mercury astronauts. And in 1961, he became the second American to fly into space in a suborbital flight in the Liberty Bell 7. Now, there's a little controversy about the landing of that craft, but I'll let you read that on your own. That's the fun part of history, doing a little more exploration. Later in his career, he became an integral member of the Gemini program. Toward the end of the Gemini program, he was moved into the Apollo program, and that was a program that was actually going to send men to the moon. Now, Apollo 1 was scheduled to fly into space in February of 1967. Unfortunately, on January 27th, 1967, there was a fire in the command module of the Apollo 1 spacecraft, and he and his fellow astronauts, Ed White and Roger B. Chaffee, were killed in that accident. Now, in 1967, I was a freshman in high school, and I was big into the space program ever since I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade. One of my buddy's dads worked at Whirlpool Corporation, and they were doing some research and development on space food. And I actually got to taste some of that stuff way back when. All that freeze-dried stuff they were working on. Anyway, I did this scrapbook on the Apollo tragedy. And I was cutting out articles from the South Bend Tribune and our local Herald Palladium. I still have this all these 50 years later. So today we're headed to the Grissom Reserve Air Base near Peru, Indiana, and we're going to visit the Grissom Air Museum. And we're going to do this in 2 parts. This week's part, we're going to go inside and look at some of the displays that they have. Just give you a little snippet of what's there. And then next week, they have over 20 aircraft sitting outside, and we'll visit those. If you enjoyed today's content, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to add variety to your viewing and expand your horizons, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and ring the little bell so you can keep up with What's Up with Richard. And now let's head south to Peru, Indiana, and the Grissom Air Museum. Wright Brothers 1911 propeller. This is one of the few remaining propellers used on a Wright airplane. It was patented by the American Propeller Company in 1911. Similar in shape to the original 1908 blades, this was mostly used on either a 1911 Wright Model B or a 1912 Model C. The F-4 Phantom, when a fighter jet such as this F-4 Phantom is no longer of use to the military, it may be sold or chopped into pieces. This cockpit is what's left after the nose cone was removed and the wings and tail section were cut off. Even without a tail or wings, climbing into an F-4 jet cockpit can be a high-flying experience. Let me try it. I'm heading in. This is what it's like to be seated in the cockpit of a jet. Controls.
So she did her homework, found out, she obviously the base.
Stick.
So she contacted the base up here, contacted us, the museum. We're not associated with you.
Looking out the windows.
So she contacted.
This is a BA-53 thermonuclear bomb. This is a bunker buster used to destroy underground installations. The destructive energy of this is roughly equal to 9 million tons of TNT. Gus Grissom.